guys, and welcome to 2018 CAT Teroscope and my review for 2018. This is a general review. I want to see all signs and I want to see what the general energy will be. So it's worth to mention that we are also entering a year number 11. 11s are very spiritual. Aquarius rules number 11. This is not to say that everybody reaches 11's potential. You see, in numerology we have 1 to 9, and then we have special numbers 11 and 22. These numbers are given mastery. They're given special abilities in achieving certain things. These abilities are not given because we were born in that. We have to really work hard throughout our lives to really deserve them. For example, most 11s are going to spend most of their life up to their, I would say, 40s or maybe even 50s, really baking their trade and being exposed to all kind of circumstances. In tarot, justice, strength, because these two cards are kind of changeable in different decks, are 11. However, I also associate the High Priestess with 11. She is represented with the Roman 2, which to me does look like 11. 11 is a number of illumination. So 1 is a leader. 1 is a leader of the leaders, but also 1 plus 1 is 2. So check it out. In 11 we have unity of leadership and softness. Hence 11s are trained to be healers all their lives. As you can imagine, I'm a number 11, and I'm telling you this from experience on my own skin. It took me really up to recently to really realize how things should be positioned, and yet I don't have all the answers. I am still continuing to work on them. So now as I was laying down these cards, as you have seen, and I did put them on a fast, we do have 11 that reappeared, or appeared rather to say, and we do have the Master, which is 22. We also have a 2 over here, and we also have 1 over here, and we also have 0, which is kind of like a baseline. So it is really confirming that numerological number 2, year number 2, which is also going to be really good year for everybody who is a number 2, because you see, we 11s will live most of our lives as number 2. Number 2 means that we have to learn how to cooperate with others, but not to suck up to them and not to give in to them. Learn how to have our own spine while still actually accomplishing our things. This is really hard, and I really believe that that was like the guiding principle behind the Greek what do you call it, councils, right? Because first of all, you had to be 45 to enter it, and then that was assumed that you have learned lessons on your own skin, and hence you'll be able to better kind of handle them. So the very first card that came out from Earth Magic Oracle cards is Autumnal Equinox. Autumnal Equinox. We say fall here in North America, and release. So let's call it Fall Equinox. So what do we really see here? It's kind of interesting because I kind of like aligned this and wanted to interpret this sort of like as per quarters as well as globally. But it was kind of really interesting. This was the very first card that appeared. And in many areas of the world, trees prepare for the winter and conserve their energy by contracting their life force, right? Which is they release their leaves, which have required the rays of the sun and nourishment from the earth in order to maintain robust growth and appearance. It is kind of like not a decision that trees will make, at least not in the usual sense, right? Instead, it's a natural response to the decreasing cycle of light that sets up the gradual and steady release of the tree's leaves. How remarkable it is that these trees, and actually for that matter, all of the Earth Mother's children, simply know what to do with the changes in climate. Don't you wonder how sometimes it would be so nice to be programmed and know how to do and when? Although this seasonal shift appears to be a death of sorts, it's only a preparation for the next cycle of life, one that will naturally follow the more extreme contraction of winter, as kind of an aspect of the life, death, rebirth cycle, right, that we find is represented in so many different ways. So, being the first card, and after shuffling, I kind of stopped this and I was thinking, okay, how do I put this together? So I think this is what it means. To start out the year, it's the time to let anything in our life fall away that is no longer useful or needed for the emerging expression of who you are. You see, let's go back to that number 11. I just told you, I had to live most of my life, and most of the time, I will live as a number 2. In order to live as number 11, you really have to figure out what is important. And 99% of the things will not be important. So this is also telling us, right, that we have to shed what has become burdensome and what no longer is congruent with our soul's purpose. We need to conserve our energy by allowing ourselves more rest, while at the same time making preparations for the following seasons. In this case will be winter season. So interestingly enough, the very first quarter here is a winter, and it's asking us to kind of let go, especially look in material possessions. What is the guys that you really don't really need? Because number 11 is very altruistic. They are not motivated by money. Be really brutally honest with yourself, because you have to figure out what you can give away and what has to be released, right? This card also tells me that we should consider shedding relationships that possibly serve their purpose and they're no longer viable, as well as work or a job that maybe has become devoid of interest and passion. With release comes a sense of being much lighter. I guess just like these trees, and they're kind of like openly naked as their leaves kind of departed from them. Life is ready to birth following a period of being quiet and going through gestation. So let go of whatever has outlived its purposefulness, I would say, and trust that something else will take its place. So I always advise, clean your closets, clean your house, make a room for something else, because it's just not possible to add more things in a glass that is full. We all keep saying, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, but then where is the room to place this? You have to understand that physically and spiritually we kind of like react in a similar way. We have to have a space to kind of place this in. And my Cat Tarot people, you, yes you are here because you do want to become a better person. And you are a better person just by listening to this, just by doing the small changes. It takes so little to change this world. And together we can do it. It takes literally one person to actually start the motion. And I think we are moving in this direction, because the second card was crystals and focus. One of my favorite cards, because my personal favorite color is purple. And this is an amethyst crystal cave that's sort of like bathing in the river or water. And also what I really like here are these kind of points of light, right? And this is kind of indicating that it has a spiritual and healing force. And the crystals do have this special, let's call it, magic, right? they have been used many years for decoration, but like in particular purple has been used by royalty and by clergy because it also had the higher purpose, which was to connect us with our purpose and who we are supposed to be and open up our psychic capabilities. So since the violet color is the same as the crown chakra, it has often been referred to as a spiritual stone. So the nature of quartz crystals, the second most common element in the Earth's crust, is they help focus the power of our life, force, or spirit. And where attention goes, power flows, and crystals magnify this power tenfold. Our intention influences where our attention goes. When we are consciously aware of our attention, it facilitates the focus of the spiritual power and also supports the manifestation in reality. So, if you only heard blah, 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 I get it. First of all, you're going to be provided a link, and it's a quick link to Amazon where you can get yourself an amethyst crystal. I highly advise you do that because it's simply a stone that makes you think, makes you wonder. Just by sitting in front of you, it's going to give you a direction. It's the stone that rules us instead of us ruling the stone. So this is telling me at this time to bring our complete focus to the subject that we really want. So of course we cannot put something new in the house unless we clean it. So we are starting with that motion, and then we are really thinking what we want. Whether this is a project, relationship, or simply a relaxing time that we want to spend walking in the nature, we have to kind of like realize that we need to be present for it. And we need to kind of like really release our wishes to the universe. So the crown chakra is the top chakra that kind of opens up. That's why people say love and light, because through crown chakra, through the spine, that light enters and helps us to kind of go in this direction that we want. And it has to be free. So you can get the circulation of light by actually, and connect to your karma, by actually having the small steps, as I'm telling you, by focusing and clearing it. This is actually going to help us have this crystal clarity, as they say, right? And be in the flow of life force and have actually become one with it. So then our wish is not going to be some wish, something that is somewhere else written, you know, or what they say, Dr. Phil, just write like, I mean, what you want and just like wait for it to happen. It doesn't work this way. You have to be realistic with yourself. You have to see what you cleared. You have to see what possible issues you had. Did you handle too many things at once? Do you need to kind of like focus on fewer things than usual? So guys, keep your eyes, ears, and heart focused on that what you need to pay attention to, and miracles can be created. I do wish you to focus on 2 or 3 things. And I do not advise to focus on, let's say, a person. I would focus on a concept. If this is love and spiritual union, I would say, I need to create that. This is my focus. Once when you go into, he has to be 6 feet tall, she has to be blonde, thin model, you're wasting the gifts that the universe can shower you. Because everybody gets what is perfect for us at the time for our learning lesson. Because we have these soulmates coming, but we also have a spiritual contract, or as they call it, the karma contract. You guys have all received a special offer for karmic contract to figure out what you can actually fix and what you can actually pay attention to, because it does help. For me, I wish I had that done for myself, because I kept repeating one mistake after another. I kept meeting the same person in a different body and repeating my mistakes until it finally, I had that tower moment and exploded in my face. And by the way, we do not have the tower the entire year. Isn't this awesome? So look at that. It kind of like makes sense that the next phase will be this rainbow. And isn't this something that we always, and I don't know which one of you doesn't stop in awe by seeing something so beautiful? So what is rainbow? It is created by the collaboration of sunlight and water in the atmosphere. You can do it yourself simply, right? By washing the car. So what happens? The water droplets become tiny prisms that collectively diffuse and disperse light onto a ribbon of colors, right? And then we see every hue that we are capable of seeing on this planet. So rainbows symbolize many things, right? Including good luck, bridge to heavens, and abundance. It is really difficult for any of us to ignore the majesty of rainbow, right? And this gentle power. It is like almost like gods are smiling at us. So when you see the rainbow, the storm has passed, and it is time to enjoy the refreshing beauty of this cycle. Maybe even if times have been difficult, even if clearance of things basically wanted us to kind of deal with, you know, things that maybe we didn't want to deal. If we did that, we are going to be rewarded, right? Don't just look at, quote unquote, the brighter side, because this is called also blessings. Don't try to adhere to some, I don't know, academic mantra that has no heart and has no depth. You know, I hear people repeating their positive affirmations. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. So instead, show your genuine gratitude in words and in deeds to the other people. This ever-evolving process of life itself is a blessing, and it is an opportunity to exist as a human being on Earth. Our planet is truly a beautiful garden. Let's keep it. We are so close to destruction, guys. Do you know that not a single psychic, not a single, as they call them, eye-seers, see this planet past year 2100? Most of us are parents. We would like our children to have their children and so on and so forth. But it is on us and upon us to kind of give love to the planet, because planet was giving this love to us all along. So even though, as I said, this planet is possibly a really beautiful garden, maybe sometimes doesn't appear to be so. Sometimes all we see is wars and issues, right? Now keep thinking about the blessings. And as far as blessings, I want you to bless your difficult or even painful experiences and let them go. I think this is sort of a second call. And then new things will happen. The very last card here that I have is a new moon. And I love this new moon because it comes with this like such a loving couple gazing the romantic sunset. So it is a time for the new beginning. 11 year after all is going to help all of you who are willing to be light workers. Yeah, and this is what makes my channel different. I don't just give you some quick get together, or he's going to leave you, he's going to come back and not to come back. Yes, you get that part as well, but this is the key part, because we are an army of do-gooders. We are an army of people who can actually move us forward. And for those of you who do really want to do that, it's a promise that we are going in this direction. So whether this is to help others, to go to the higher realm, to launch a project, a new relationship, or a new something that kind of has been tucked away for a later date, this is the time. We did set intention. We did kind of give our blessings. And now it is a time to emerge. And anything that has been in the dark, maybe some of us wonder, will this ever happen? Rest assured, do this job, do this work that I have asked you to do, and it will happen. The next step, this step as a new moon, is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. Because as you know, moon has the phases, right? It initiates another lunar circle, right? It's moving from darkness to fullness and then back again over approximately 1 month. I don't know, it's like 28.5 to 29 days. The promise is that the moon is going to be there, right? As long as the moon exists. So whatever the new project is, it has to be done on healthy grounds, because obviously we have been asked so many times over this year to do it. This is number 11. I told you, number 11 is not an easy number, but it gives you numerous rewards if you're willing to do the work. You will not believe the red carpet treatment. And it is just like that. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm rewarded for who I am, for just being nice to people. So this card promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When you align your will with the will of spirit, and when you focus upon what you wish to have happen, then this promise will be kept. So I was going into so many details about these 4 cards because as I noticed this waterfall down in the other decks, it kind of like summarized really succinctly really the rest of the story. So let me explain. Look at this. In the other cards, what do we have? In tarot, we have major arcana and minor arcana. There is a huge difference. Arcana means secrets. And those are those universal secrets that we are here to actually go and get through the dark and get into the light and kind of like move into the better life. Third eye chakra came out. The crystals came out. That message repeated. And so did the solar plexus chakra, which is the center, which kind of regulates both our connection with the other people and our ability to give the confidence, as well as our comfort with that we can handle daily tasks. So we have transformation, we have awareness, we have balance, we have trust, we have completion, and we have the master. I have to tell you, I am so beyond impressed what kind of cards we have. So let me give you sort of like a little information about the first quarter. The first quarter is going to be some kind of transformation. So in the other decks, this card is called Death card. And that card with itself carries that mission. Sort of like it can be very ominous, kind of like and strange and harsh, but can also be a beginning of a new phase, such as death of pregnancy is the beginning of a child. So hence it's kind of very joyful occasion, right? So it's asking us to release what doesn't work and actually see what we can do differently. Because remember, if you keep doing the same things over and over, we cannot expect different results. It's also asking us to kind of like attend to new vitality. Look at that. This is also a purple card. And I don't know if you can see it with the sliding, but again, it's connecting to this like 2 chakra sort of like focuses that we need to have, telling me, and there is this rainbow motive again, telling me that maybe if we need to kind of go to a new fitness routine, or if we want to exercise, we kind of have to kind of like realize what we neglected, because it's reversed. And so is this card. Awareness reversed, again, look at that. It's again telling us about this crown chakra. Again, it's telling us about the magic and about certain things that we should be able to connect and to create. So when awareness is reversed, just like new vitality, this is kind of telling me that some of us are not really aware, and maybe we have been going through some kind of suffering. And suffering is very much like stale water, right? When you drink water, everything seems to be okay. Leave it in a glass, it's going to get icky and yucky. So we need to kind of at least kind of acknowledge what we need to release in order to know how to transform. And then we are giving the tools how to do that. And creator here is basically the Zen master. Look what he has. He has the solar plexus chakra, right? So this card invites us to basically recognize and participate in understanding that, you know, everybody who mastered this kind of fires, the solar plexus, those are the fires of passion, right? This is the person who is able to kind of create a better thing for themselves and for everybody else. Because as you know, without fire, it will be hard to survive. And sometimes also fire can go out of control. So it has to be integrated, that there is no longer any difference between who this person is inside or who we are inside and in the world outside. So that's generally the gift of understanding and integration, right? So the gift of light that I was telling you about. So this is King of Fire or King of Wands, that tells us that anything that we undertake now with the understanding that all that we want to undertake, what has to come from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and to the lives of others. Using whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience, it is a time to express yourself. So this card here tells me that must be some kind of hidden masterpiece inside of you guys. Maybe it was on a back burner. Maybe you were told you cannot create it. Because this is generally in the other decks called a magician, who can create anything. And then it's saying, oh no, I cannot do it. Maybe we convinced ourselves we cannot do it. Maybe others convinced us that we cannot do it. But this is telling us, yes, you can. You're carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in a way. So just move aside and the masterpiece will be revealed, right? So everyone is a masterpiece, because God never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries that masterpiece hidden from many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. So how to do it? Drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are that masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know, to realize it. So it is understanding that what you are bringing to the table is important, and that what you're bringing to the table should be honored, that what you're bringing to the table should be respected. It is how we do it, how we say it. And I would say for some of you, that will be also some people that we possibly need to get rid of. People, relationships, and stuff. Oh my gosh, especially if you live in North America or Europe, or I would say Australia, sort of like the first world countries, I would say, we have so much stuff. And there are so many people who don't have them. So guys, let's transform. Let's see what is important. In the second quarter, when we need to focus, we will be challenged. And this is what happens with number 11. And we have this balance. Any imbalance is going to be corrected. Look at that. We have the circular motion here yet again, right? So it's like 3-4 times that we have it here. So we kind of like have to realize that we probably already have everything we need to have. And Nine of Fire is talking about a strategy. Here is talking about focus, the spiritual growth. But hey, just because we focus and sit in front of the fireplace and we want the soulmate to arrive, hey, unless we do something, unless we, let's say, get ourselves in shape, kind of create the profile, go and meet other people, it's not going to happen. So this is talking about some kind of strategy, some kind of like creation of it, even though maybe that didn't work in the past. And I think this is why this came back, saying maybe certain things didn't look in the past, but maybe just a small shift in a different direction will actually bring us to different results. This is not all about just winning and losing, right? This is about the heart. This is about what is the good for us. Especially this applies to people who are in some kind of like 3 people situation. Resolve it. Do you know how? Get out of it. It's as simple as that. Nobody needs to suffer. This definitely card says that there is suffering that is kind of included. So it's asking you to transform out of that suffering. You are right to demand the truth, because look at that. She's steering it. She's demanding the truth. She wants to let this light in, right? She wants to ground herself. And it is not all about the victory, but I think this card in here is saying that we have to redefine it. This victory should be about ourselves. This card here, again, is basically what happens when we don't know how to balance things properly. When, you know, we forget that our mind is meant to be a servant, and we allow our mind to run our lives. Look at this head. It's filled with all kinds of mechanisms, and this mouth is ranting and raving, right? And the whole surrounding atmosphere is kind of being polluted, as you can see. But this I don't know, what is this? Factory, I guess, chimneys, but it's probably talking about factory of arguments and opinions. I don't know how often you guys to go to Facebook, Instagram, television, chat rooms. Everybody has their own 2 cents, and everybody has to have a snarky, smart comments, because simply we feel in a world that is kind of like really intruding upon of us. But also, we partially are responsible for ourselves, right? Some of us can say, hey, wait, the mind is what makes us human. It's the source of all progress. It's the source of all truths. It's like what makes humans better than anybody else. Well, if you believe that, try an experiment. Go into your room, shut the door, turn on a tape recorder, and give yourself total permission to say whatever it is, quote unquote, on your mind. If you really allow it to all come out without any censorship or editing, you'll be amazed at the amount of rubbish that comes out of our mouths, right? So this is the Page of Clouds, or Page of Swords. And it's telling us that somebody somewhere is stuck in a head, or in a head trip. So take a good look and make sure this isn't you. If you're guys dealing with somebody like that, who is trying to force some kind of control or their vision of truth, because these 3 cards are very kind of like mind cards. These are air cards. Look at this. Air, 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 air. So to me, what is amazing about that is that the lots of, from the first 6 months, will be in the realm of thinking. So this is going to be very, very important to address, that we don't overthink, that we actually have to go with emotional response, where we already know where we don't feel right, and simply figure out what better ways we can go about it. Maybe what is the better partner for us, and what is the better situation for us. Seeking the truth, I more or less see what is the truth for us. I think these 2 faces, these 2 minds, are our mind, because sometimes we think one way and then somebody else convinces us into something else. Nothing wrong about that. It is okay to change your mind. Now, this is the card that tells you that sometimes people can be sneaky, and if you really know who you are, and knowing who you are is coming from our solar plexus, so I would advise solar plexus chakra exercises, sitting in the sun, that kind of things, because you see, she's kind of letting that thing come through. Then we would know if somebody is telling us the truth, if this is also our truth. And if it isn't, we are just going to let go of that. So this is not about winning against somebody, but it's, again, I reiterate, winning ourselves, because we will be so close to completing that journey, to kind of putting this last puzzle in who we want to be, that it's going to be almost like you can almost touch it, you can almost feel it, and yet it's going to be some kind of wall, because this card came reversed. We will still need to put the final touches, because to become a number 11, to live number 11, you're always and always and always being challenged. You're always being thrown something else. So just don't say, oh, well, I did this easy exercise and something else happened and now I don't want to do it. This is what kind of year is going to be. Huge benefits, but going to be lots of work. You cannot give up, because the completion is very near. This like Mona Lisa smile, this everything is right here. We cannot go back, guys. We can only go forward. And I wish that all of us go forward in a much better us. So this is the last call for us to walk away from things that don't work. Look, is this kind of chest of money or old memories or something that we have accumulated with somebody so important, if somebody is not treating us right? Did you ever ask yourself, is there something else out there better for you? Did you ever ask yourself if you trust yourself and if you want something better? Did you ever ask yourself why you haven't done certain things? Why didn't you open your arms and fly? Trust reversed, or the Fool card reversed, tells me that maybe there is still a concept that has been lost on us, even in the third quarter of the 2018. Remember, you can only go to third eye chakra if you conquer all the other chakras. In particular, two of them will be very prominent. Also, what I find interestingly is like these two colors are also opposing colors on the spectrum. So 11 means, as I told you, there are two ones, leaders of the leaders, but also a very feminine principle. This is kind of very difficult, meaning you can say very, very harsh words to someone. It is how you say it. And it is to say it really, with real intention to help them and them understanding that this is what you're doing. But rewards, guys, are astonishing, right? Not only do we have this spiritual union, but we also have this Master card. So what is the spiritual union, guys? This is a soulmate card, but not kind of like any cheesy soulmate card. This is like a really, really good one. This is like when you kind of look at this again in the third eye, you connect with someone. For those of you who did your work, who didn't kind of tuck things away, just continue things the same old, those of you will be actually uniting with somebody. Maybe you already have a relationship that has been suffering. Maybe some of us will have this relationship that was more or less based on somebody always upping us one, or somebody always need to look better, or needing to be admired, or we felt that somebody's taking away maybe our peace of mind, maybe money. But we have been working all year long to shed this, to get to this union. And guess what? Number 22. We have mastered it. So the master is Zen, is not a master over others, but the master of himself. And I don't know if you can see it, this also is a purple card. So his every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. So as I told you, he has no private goals, right? So he has no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples basically gather around him, not to follow him, but simply to soak up the presence and be inspired, simply to learn. This is somebody who who doesn't do things because he thinks he has to create something. It's somebody who just really enjoys, and he kind of doesn't mind sharing what he or she has. If you guys find such a master, somebody who can help you along your path, who can guide you, you're going to come to that spot yourself really, really fast, and you'll be blessed. If you can't, keep on searching, because by the end of the year, you're supposed to get there. So keep on moving, guys. So 2018, I actually pulled one more card, which I haven't shuffled in front of everybody, but it's this one. Oops. Loyal Heart. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It has a number of layered messages, and I really like to see two owls, right? Two owls represents wisdom, but in this case represents the heart. So it says this: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. By the way, Aquarians and number 11 is known for loyalty. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, Kat, what are you talking about? I know this Aquarius and he or she cheated on me. Yeah, that's a number 2. That's a very beginning existence, because they were supposed to spread their wings and fly. They still haven't reached that. But this is for the people who did their work, right? So altogether, this year is going to have this flavor that others will prove faithful to us, and we will in turn be able to fully commit to them. So there is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. For the relationship, it says, your partnership, friendships, and romantic relationships will have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. Prosperity message. Your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions, where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans, while remaining flexible and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit and manifesting a partner. And lastly, we also get protection message. Are you stubborn, or are you overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you don't want to know, or you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now it is time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. So guys, as you can see, this talks about betrayal. Talking about that maybe we have been betrayed, and maybe we are betraying ourselves. This is asking us to let go of the past. This is asking us that if something is out of balance, because this is a karmic number and it is a number 11, that things eventually will be in balance. We eventually will have this trust. We eventually will open our arms, and things will come. Things will come. We need to kind of get the strength in who we are, what we want, and then walk away from things that are not important, that no longer serve us. Let bygones be bygones, and get rid of the people who upset you. And if you spend time being upset or mulling over certain issues, it's not going to serve the purpose. The best cause of action, put the finishing touches and say, hey, thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. It is time for me to move on. And I'm moving on because I'm becoming the master. I do love you. However, my love has to be given to somebody else at this point. So thank you guys for this general introduction. Now we are going to go in particular signs. Hi Sagis, and welcome to 2018. I bet you are so happy that 2017 is over. It kind of like had lots of challenges with itself, but I'm sure that you'll be looking at that year back and saying, this is where I took this turn. This is where destiny pushed me into something else. So first of all, what's going to be happening in 2018? I kind of divided it also in quarters for you. So it's starting with this vision quest, right? So, you know, not always we had all these tools and gurus and everything at the tip of our fingers. So if we call something desert, right, then we immediately kind of change this image of something is kind of like very unwelcoming, something dry, and only kind of those hardy species kind of like can find a home over there, right? But throughout history, people have passed down many stories of people wandering the desert. So often that basically happened to be in conjunction with religious figures and those ascended masters who basically took journey there and returned to their people with those remarkable visions. So many people wanted to follow because the desert is really an ideal place to seek a vision or to allow that vision to come to you. It is because possibility of the quiet and peace of such environment, but also look how unique is in coloring, in substance. It's not many distractions, right? So a vision quest is basically a process whereby you spend a few days in the wilderness alone, right? Many clans organize their old clannish behavior about that, right? But this is not what I'm talking about. Typically, it's asking for you to kind of do the search in it, right? So that would be the Hermit card in tarot, asking you to kind of like really be open-minded and just go on the journey with yourself. It is possibly the time for praying and time for meditating. So many who have completed these kind of vision quests assert that is like a really powerful and even life-changing experience. With this coming as right out of the gate is saying that you are possibly completing what you have started already in 2017. Your entire 2017 at times felt like that. Felt like, oh my gosh, what's next? What's happening? What do I have to learn? You know, there is that saying that the desert doesn't lie. So partaking in this can help you discover the truth about your purpose and give you some clues. So this is for those of you who already don't know which tensions you are on, because you're definitely, look at this, you're definitely starting something new right out of the gate, guys. For you, it's going to be that important, and we will still be in a Mercury shadow. So it is time for you to go on a vision quest to finalize this. Maybe you already know where you're going, but it's always good to redefine it and kind of get this like little kind of pieces and elements together. So spend time in the nature, or spend majority of your time praying and meditating. Take a week, go to work, do the stuff, but then this 4 or 5 or whatever 2 hours you're at home, turn your phone off. Only exception is Cat Tarot channel, but that should be a guilty pleasure, maybe once a week only. The rest of the time, prayer and meditating, going deep inside. Maybe reading books, that can be exception, but they have to be books about biographies, about the people who did conquer different odds, right? So this is one of the more powerful cards, guys, in the deck. By drawing it, wherever the other messages are amplified. So keep this in mind. Not only was this a very important card, but now we are getting this in the very first position. And it is kind of being combined with the other elements. It's combined with this awareness. Awareness is like, look, your crown chakra is opening. So this is the vision. Vision always talks about, you know how we say love and light? Well, it's coming through basically our opening. And if you do this like more complex meditations, because here, look, he's kind of connected to this cosmos. We are connected to everything, but we here live in such a dense environment that we are not able to get these messages and not able to kind of like be close to home or to God, wherever home is for you, right? So this is now going to be the year. You Sagittarius are the sign of philosophy, where things are going to start clicking in. It is going to be a new start. The success and growth card is reversed. So you need to start paying attention to details, and I think this is saying, look, how do you grow if you do not have the full determination of where are you going? You have to kind of really determine and define that. It's kind of like would be a must. So this is kind of like one of the warnings in the first quarter, but you're reaching the maturity. This is a lovely card. It is like something that is going to go. It's going to be very long term. You're talking about the first 3 months in a year and setting the stage right, without rush, but with proper planning and proper magic. So it looks like everything will align. You have to be doing this for the right reasons for things to happen. But boy, will they happen. The next you have fairies, and it's translating it as earth magic. So this card is like one of those cards that I don't fully connect with, but I'm going to tell you what this card is all about, right? Because fairies are basically being interpreted as nature spirits and to be descended from the early tribes, particularly, I believe, the Tuatha and Danann, which are associated with the goddess Dana, who once ruled Ireland and inhabited the British Isles. So over time, the ancient people were basically conquered and displaced, right? And kind of like it was going in the territories where maybe humans, it's kind of like a territory where we don't really feel completely on our own, or it's not a human territory very much, because that's why they are fairies, right? So this ability to communicate became like less and less and less, and those fairies had to hide themselves, right? So they also assumed responsibility for the plants and trees, the standing ones, right? And they work with earth magic to take care of these beings, and if you ask, they will help you with your garden or with your yard. That's where they are particularly effective. They also have the power of enchantment and shape-shifting. So fairies appreciate it when we show them through our actions that we love the earth as much as they do. And like looks like here, like you guys, you'll really have to dedicate and pay your dues to the planet. So just ask yourself, where did you miss it? Because it does want to give you this magic back. It does want to give you this power. You've been through the heavy period to shed you from anything that is not workable. So this is telling me that you have the same power available to you as the fairies do. It starts with loving the earth through your heartfelt gratitude and appreciation, but more important, through your actions. The fairies can definitely help you reconnect in a more intimate way, not only with the earth, which is like their purpose. If to do that, you will just need to be willing to pay attention to trees and plants around you and realize they're equally equally here, they have equal rights to be here as you do, right? But this can also help you reconnect with your greater purpose, with your greater spirit. So whether you live in a small space or have an expanse of land, make it a point to be especially attentive to the surrounding vegetation. Plant something. Get your hands in the dirt and do so with love and enthusiasm. So every flower, tree, or shrub that you're tending is a living being. So treat each of them like a wonderful friend. See how they develop. See how much your nourishment with water, with music that you play for them, with what kind of emotions you deliver to them is going to come back to you. Because I think your environment is going to reflect a peace. And ask basically fairies to help you take care of these friends, whether these are your planned friends or your real friends, because you'll be starting to be rewarded. It is like something that you're like actually literally putting this magic, because the awareness card is also the card of the magician. And here also this is matched with the card of universe. So universe is basically the last card of the major arcana, and it talks about, as you can see, this Milky Way. And this Milky Way is all of a sudden like becoming you. You're kind of getting it. Hey, this is who I'm here. I'm not just a little kind of, you know, bunch of cells walking around. There is like something really important about me that I have to kind of present over here. This is meaning that something that you did, this hard work that you have been working in 2017 is finally done. These are the last stages that you need to kind of shed it, see what is important, what's not important, and connect with the planet Earth for some reason. It's telling you two caveats. One, that is a time to find balance, right? What is it you want? Looks like some of you are torn in all directions. Do I want a marriage? Do I want a child? Do I want education, love, right? Enjoyment of life, or is time running out? When you start thinking in any of these directions and you see this like centrifugal, I believe, force that kind of kicks you out, it literally gets you out of balance. So the more that you go to a center, the better you are. Meaning, just don't let things to bother you. And things that bother you mostly are in your mind. Look at this. He just wants to scream. He wants to scream a whole bunch of things out. Everything is like burning. Like, I mean, there are fires, everything. And look at this engine that is like functioning, but it's not nice. Not to mention this walled-in thing. Maybe you need to find some truth. Maybe you need to find some closure. Maybe you just need to blurt it out. The book that came with this card suggests like go in a room, put a tape recorder. I don't know who has tape recorder, but anyway, so anything that you can record yourself with, and start shouting, yelling, all the stuff that you want to tell to the other people. Then listen and see what do you need to do to get back in balance. But it's also good to get it out of your system, because it does help and does work. So look at this once. You are getting this unbelievable amount of once. But now something is shifting. 1st of July on, there is like, you're doing a good work. This is actually pretty good as well. It's telling you there are still certain things that you need to work on. And not that you're not going to have the challenging times. It's just normal. You always have that duality in life. But here, you're finally ready to emerge, right? See, in the stages of the life cycle of a dragonfly, once the egg is laid upon a floating plant or dropped onto or into the water, it gestates, it hatches, and may remain there like up to 4 years in this kind of like larval form called nymph. It's a precursor to the dragonfly, and they kind of skip the cocoon stage and move from egg directly to nymph. So at some point, that nymph climbs onto a rock or a leaf, and it there emerges from its former body and takes on the shape and character of adult dragonfly. And it's kind of very radiant, right? And it's illuminating our eyes and hearts, and we kind of witness these dramatic colors and this beautiful, beautiful dance. So You guys are in this kind of emergence. You basically are not aware of it now, but you will, that you managed to skip a step. You have been given a fast route to something much better. And fast is usually hard, right? It could be a bumpy road. And that's why it happened. So you are in a very that intense process of emergence onto this next cycle. And when you have the gradual shifts, right, which is kind of more for the earth signs, they cannot take bumpy roads because it really gives them that kind of like nauseous feeling. But you can, you are a fire sign, so this is happening rapidly and possibly even unexpectedly, and it's going to be an aha moment when you get here. It's going to be, I really get it. It's everything is going to make sense looking back, but you're not going to have any time or any room for any contemplation or indecision. You might even think, oh my gosh, I'm not ready, I don't want to drive, I'm kind of like, not, no, I'm okay where I am. No, it's not going to be happening, because this is why this is asking you to become aware, to kind of figure out, because the rest is going to be easy. You already did your homework, right? So life is demanding that you move into the next stage of maturity. This requires you to adjust your thinking about yourself, others, and your community. It calls for you to shed yet another layer of possibly ego defenses, right? And let go of any illusions of being less than who you are. You are great just as you are. And you have to figure out why you haven't felt that before. So this period of emergence is one of broadened consciousness and heightened perceptual capacities. It's sort of inevitable for you when this card comes out, so it is the best to surrender to the flow and allow yourself to gracefully move into the next life. So it's like saying, well, I don't want to be born. Well, sorry, it's just time. You're being pushed out. Off you go, right? It comes like almost automatic. So this is going to charge you. It's going to give you this new stage into something, whether it's going to be a business or a project or a love affair. This is you. Like, you're not cops, you're fire. This is like start from the beginning. These two cards combined are definitely guaranteeing something. Closing one part, opening another. Yes, you may go through challenging times, but the challenging times are, again, each and every time going to open one more leaf, right? Lotus being this cosmic leaf of receptivity. Especially for the ladies out there, you're going to come to the full understanding who you are, like what are you made of. And for you gentlemen, you're going to get a little bit of the softer spot. You're going to understand kind of like more of the universe, kind of like, oh, I have this piece on me and I shouldn't be fighting it. I should really enjoy it and absorb it. Because the last quarter is finishing with new moon and promise card. So here we are seeing the couple gazing basically on the new moon, kind of, and we all have been possible in these kind of moments. And it's not only that it's a gorgeous to look, but this is sort of like almost feeling like a true promise, a promise of love. So the fading sun kind of drapes the clouds and waters with this kind of like tinge of luminescence, just like as this crescent opens its arms to this kind of nearby planet, Venus, which is kind of named after the Roman goddess of love. So this is the time of manifestation, beginnings, and renewal, with the promise that our desires will come to fruition. So whatever you have been brewing, wherever it started, it's now happening. It's like maybe something that you had to find your balance, find your sea legs, overcome challenges and issues on this project, but it was born. And now it is time to launch it, right? So, or maybe even renew something that has been put aside previously for a later date. So with your intention and willingness to kind of allow a full cycle to complete itself, that desire that you had will manifest. This can be love, this can be business, this can be job, this can be career, it can be all of the above, which most likely it is, because I see the Triumph card is following this. So you need to do your work, right? So you have to go and date if you want to meet a mate. You have to look for jobs if you want to get a job. That's what I'm telling you. You have to do your work, right? So realization will happen if you do that steps, and you have been brewing on it from an entire year. So when this card comes out, it always has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. So you are basically aligning your will with the will of the spirit, of this earth magic, of the universe. And your intentions are focused on what you wish to have happen. And this is basically saying that the universe will keep its promise if you do your job. Guys, you know what? They say, ask and it will be given. This is like what this card says. So ask, but also you need to help yourself, because this is also saying the triumph is done. You will be triumphant. This card also talks about our own demons. It's not going to be triumph only on the outside, but it's going to be triumph inside, because reaching that level of contentment, and you see there is like another shade of that 7, choose your battles. You, as a part of this triumph, you're learning that all the time good comes with bad or with evil, and then you have to figure out who do you really want to stand up to, who you don't want to, because you have to learn. See, the central one is the heart one. What is it you want? And literally you are the archer, and spread your arch toward that goal. Since you'll be very successful this year, guys, you're getting 9 of Cups. This is that single person who doesn't need anybody. You are so content. This is not, I am enjoying the fruits of my labor, but look, the slippers. To me, if I'm in this position, I'm having a good time. But we have few hints in this card, and the hints are this check-in board, that things are still challenging us. This is that choice between good and evil. And here, look at this ice blocks. Do not isolate yourself from the others. It is good to kind of take a breather and say, okay, this is 9. Look, I have worked so hard, because you guys going from 1 to 9. This is going to be an amazing year. So enjoy it, savor it, but do your job. The biggest message that I think that maybe you will miss, unless I repeat it again, you need to connect with Earth. You guys are the sign that likes outdoors. Did you maybe forget outdoors in 2017 and you didn't get your magnetic energy charge? I think that's what it's probably telling me, because you're also getting the universe, also the Earth, basically world card. This is coming very, very strongly, and it's going to be the spring feed that you need to do. So guys, do your work and you're going to be paid multifold. So let's check next sort of like different houses and what you will need to build in each of these houses. This continues to be exciting, really exciting. Again, you have repeat the passion card, and it's like right in your first house. And also you have another one, awareness, that you had it here, the magician, in your 12th house. So you have another one, so, and you have a 10. This is the year for you to make it, really make it. It is going to be about stability, about ruling, And just don't forget that the life also happens in the meantime. That's why he's holding it over here and asking you what kind of person you want to be. Because you can be a ruler that is fierce ruler, or you can rule with this kind of like gentleness about it. So let me remove this autofocus because it just kind of creates so many problems and people complain. But the first house here is talking about awareness of self, and it talks about appearance and outward personality. And here you have like this Ace of Wands, right? And you guys are going to redefine yourself. Maybe it's going to be a new fitness program, maybe it's going to be a new look, maybe it's going to be a new project. And sorry, let me put it here in the bun. Maybe it's going to be something, as I said previously, something from the back burner coming to the surface. And look at the strength and look at the conviction. He's kind of pushing this, is saying, I am. This is the house that says I am. You're kind of claiming who you are. You were working on it. You have been forced to work on it. So it is time kind of like to look into that. The second house talks about money, possessions, values, and skills. The judgment card. You have nothing to prove, right? Like you're coming out and saying, you see, this is the vision quest. This is it, okay? Like now I kind of bear myself in front of you. So tell me what I can do further to kind of like improve myself more. So this is saying to me, maybe you're going to shed all values, because the judgment card always talks about things from the past resurfacing only once more to be shed with. And maybe to set completely new standards and new sets. Because maybe you felt that certain things that you had just simply didn't work anymore. Or you don't want it to work. You maybe are entering a completely new phase in your life with new people and new assignments. And this is kind of like across the board for you. The third house is talking about basically, I think, in your immediate environment, mental activity, learning, siblings, and communication. So the two little doggies are looking in the moon. I'm just trying to remember where did I see these two doggies in this deck. I'll remember it. Of course it's the moon card, but there was something else as well. So this is talking about unknown. It's talking something that is still kind of closed in, right? So you need to think about some communications with the others. Somebody maybe turn their backs to you, because these two dogs generally should talk about conscious and subconscious and kind of like issues that kind of like maybe appear differently in different angles, and maybe you still don't have all the entire picture about it, right? So here we have that Tower cards, right? But you can see here is a different tower, which you didn't get it, luckily. But it says here it has been rebuilt, and really, really strongly. And not only one, but two. It's saying why to just focus on one thing. You can have more than that. But this is kind of also sometimes very close to the Judgment card. Kind of like pearly gates sort of a flavor. Where, okay, you know, are you sure that you're going to pass through it? You're not going to be destroyed, because you're being watched. So I think you're getting into some new level of spirituality. You're not fully there. You're still trying to do it. And I'm seeing this Magician is showing up once, but twice in your deck. It's not the same card, right? But it's kind of merging in tension, because this is a 10 and this is a 1. So this is kind of a new phase. So when it comes to your home and parents and roots and your security, the Wheel of Fortune is saying, look, it's life. This card here, it's the desert. It's the vision quest that you had. Those Egyptian gods and somebody who is basically running us, telling us everything is predetermined, everything is predestined. But you're saying, I actually have lots of number 1 this year. And remember, you had this awareness, you're getting this light, you are connecting with the planet just like a she is. Because look, this is not some kind of like fluffy mechanism, it's just a regular stone. Everything is carved in the stone. But you got this side where now he has this life symbol in hand, right? And also, look at this desert is no longer desert. Everything is created to be lush. So check the difference you can make. And this is coming to your home life. You have to pay this year attention to your loved ones, to your parents, to your husband, to your boyfriend, to your children, to your basically friends, even though the house number 5 specifically talks about children, and the 4 would really talk about home, parents, and roots and inner security. Maybe you haven't been secure up to this point, but this is the Wheel of Fortune. This security is now being generated, and it's totally being pushed on the next level. You guys are literally starting year. And you know, starting year is like planting seeds. Make sure you're planting seeds and that you have water and all these elements. And that's maybe why that element of earth was so much stressed in your previous kind of chapter, because you maybe need to kind of like move it forward and something connect with the earth, because this is kind of like something that needs to ground you. Now, this is the house number 5, and it talks about romance, children, fun, creativity. Not the greatest card though. Look at that. Somebody is victorious. Which one are you? Are you the victorious one? And you know what you want, and you're not going to resort to any kind of begging anymore? Or are you the one who is lost? To some extent, it's going to be instability on this level. So maybe the children are not going to listen. Maybe you're going to have the tough love over here. Maybe you need to unleash the creativity, but again, draw basically that power from that planet to get there. That's kind of like really, really important. This is also here talking about this resurrection and saying, do not go back, please. You're getting this possibility to clean it right now. Off you go. The house number 6 talks about work, health, service, and self-improvement. Yay, Ace of Swords. What is that you want? Did somebody take away the victory from you? Do not let somebody take your wind away. You can do it. And I think you can see it this in a twofold. Did that eagle soared above you and took this away from you? Or is this eagle coming to pay his dues, just like this, and say, yes, master, you conquered? Whenever the Ace of Swords comes out, it's talking about willingness to go and chase the truth, with truth being important. I think for you, it's going to be a lots of victory year, with caution that if you are this one, not to be brutal toward the people you're leaving behind. You have to look into that. Look, I have something to build, and maybe I have outlived the situation. You might have issues with your children. That definitely I kind of like see as a possibility, but you'll be looking for some kind of like new horizons in your work life. Your health will improve. You're going to start detecting all these issues that need to be resolved in order for you to move forward. Now, house number 7, marriages, partnerships, victory. You see, you did catch it. You were honored. People actually did come to your feet. You'll be so much in charge, so much in power. He also has this life here that he has. So don't lie to yourself, or don't let others to lie to you either, because you have this victory. This is a great card. Absolutely talks about amazing sex life, going forward, feeling victorious, feeling like after struggle, like I've been finally getting there. The negative part of this archetype is that, you know, when you're up there, people want to knock you down. So it is like good to kind of pay attention that this shouldn't be like something like you had this like 9, enjoyed yourself. Don't stay there forever, because, you know, world keeps changing days. So this is kind of like really, really important. Now, this is interesting. This is in the house of shared resources, and it talks about sex and death and letting go and regeneration and other people's money and sharing. And then you have like a soulmate card over here, right? This is not marriage. I think this side would be really that soulmate marriage. It's kind of like, I think, would be a spark of something new. There is definitely something that is intrigue, right, on the horizon, right? This touching of hands, yeah, definitely there is the star connecting them. And here it's like something new that is coming out. And it's really, it's good. But you're also, at the same time, maybe letting go of somebody this year. Maybe it's one of those final cleanses that you're doing and cleaning the slate, because this is also 220, and you have it, as you can see, on the completely opposite side. It's, if you're letting somebody go, you are doing that willingly and lovingly. If there is somebody else coming into your life, that somebody else is going to be lots of fun. It's going to be one of those, here it is. This is exactly how the house is number 8. This is a house of Scorpio. And then you have exactly the same card that house basically talks about. Do you want to keep any of them? Or do you want to go and check your shooting star? You guys are natural adventurers. It's a tough choice. And this is saying maybe this year is not going to be for really serious commitments for you. Because after all, you're like going on a new journey. And you really need to feel who you really are. And there's like this super duper enjoyment of, look, let me flirt. This is more or less flirt. But flirt with, it's a little bit more to it. You are kind of like feeling regenerated in this particular stage. This is your exploration card, guys. Hey, yeah, maybe you are tired of what it was, and you are kind of seeing new horizons. You are ready to spread your wings. You're ready to sail off. It is really much better than this one, where you're kind of all seeing is just a little kind of broken things. But now the vision is getting clear. The fog is leaving. This is usually the house number 9 of higher education, of philosophy, publishing, religion, of course, travel and law. So if you have any of these issues that you're going to school, or you know that you're studying occult, metaphysical, philosophy, that you want to publish something, that you like to write books, or you know you kind of like want to dedicate yourself to prayer, meditation, religion, it's all going to start to work out. You guys are going to that journey. You are willing to go. You know that there is like no set destination there, that like one of those kind of like travels is like into unknown, but you really want this unknown. And I think that frisky thing is going to be the flavor of you this year, even though while doing that, you'll be really solidifying yourself with a soft touch, right? Kind of like knowing, kind of solidifying what you really want. Now this card falls in the house number 10, which is career, status, reputation, purpose, and your own power. You kind of like feel very accomplished though. I don't think you have any ifs or doubts about that. But you feel that maybe it is more than that. So because I'm seeing these two cards now together as well. Here you're saying, never mind, I don't really care. I really need to learn more. And here saying, okay, I journey a little bit more here. I did obtain this philosophical knowledge, right? I did now acquire all this reputation, but is that where I want to stop? Do I really want to go, or I don't want to go? You see, in this card he's leaving, but you'll be still pondering at this stage. The shooting star may pass you, so maybe status is not going to be so important, and maybe power is not going to be so important, but it's not to say that you're not going to be reassessing where you came from and what do you still want this year. So your aspirations, house number 11, friends, groups, goals. You're getting 6 of Pentacles. It's going to be sort of like a time when you will be a little selfish. This is giving and sharing, and him kind of like seeing what he can bestow upon everybody else. But I think you'll be taking something this time. Going to not necessarily be bad about that, right? Because you see here's a night and here's a day. You're going to also get clarity into like this planetary kind of influences. You see he has all these planets: the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter over here. So he is kind of like feeling really empowered. He kind of like knows that all these balls are in the air and he can take any of them. It's the giving and sharing here is like just give and give, and here is like understanding this lesson of give and share and how to move forward. So this kind of like your friends, maybe you're going to get more choosy about your friends. Maybe you're going to see how they fit into your emotions, if they are very changeable, if they're loving, if they're nurturing, if this is kind of like adventurous enough for you. Do you kind of like see yourself lucky in this, or is this kind of like teaching you some kind of hard lessons? But if it teaches you hard lessons, if you're teaching you hard lessons in a good way, so sort of like that you actually progress further. So it's going to be, I would not say challenging, but looks like children and friends, which you will redefine that. And that kind of makes sense when you have to shed things. This is kind of like what your core was, and you're going to take whatever and whomever worked, and you're going to release whoever didn't, to give space for new to come, because that space have to be done. This give and share is definitely asking for that space to be created. And then house number 12 talks about your spiritual life. And this is your solitude and institutions, possibly even self-sabotage. So here we have the Magician. So this is the Magician card, and this is the Wheel of Fortune card. On the back of this deck is like the Magician himself as well. But now he here understands in the house number 5, in his thinking process, that he can actually do that. He finally gets it here. Well, I can jump off this Wheel of Fortune. I don't have to have things pre-written for me. I have this solution in my hands. You see this shooting star? You had it over here as well. But you got this side, so there is no shooting star for you. So you're not chasing rainbows anymore. You are thinking and pondering, because you remember how you had to choose your battles. You cannot undertake everything. You have finished something really hard and solid. And what you see here in the back, on his back, this is the Kabbalah's tree of life, right? So here the very first top circle would be the Fool, which is God. There is this infinity that comes. So he's streaming this God as above, so below, and you see it just goes through that. So God is ascending, and then this one goes into the Magician. So he needs to get this, and he needs to get the High Priestess. These three things are genderless. So something that you're starting is maybe not going to have the total conclusion, but definitely you can see there's attitude about going up, going above, and kind of growing in your art, in your craft, in your work, in your stability. And I don't care how old you are, this might be a completely fresh start. Almost like packing up and saying, you know what? You know that saying when they have, oh, I wish that, you know, I am 20 years younger and that I have the knowledge that I have. You're going to say, you know what? I don't wish that I'm 20 years younger. I actually enjoy myself right now, right here where I am, and I'm going to move on just from here. So guys, the next we are going to check Letterman just to see certain kind of like maybe things that you have to look coming your way, and then we are going to seal the reading after that. let's see what basically I can see as maybe some focal points in this year. First of all, again, I see some kind of like crossroads of the soulmates. They maybe could be two possible partners. And again, I see this journey, travel. It's going to be the end of one journey and the beginning of a new journey. Like you have the ring in the house of the cross, in the house of faith. And you have the cross in the house of fish. For those of you who are trying to be entrepreneurial or have your own business, this is going to be a great year. Now, they're still unknown. I can see like what we saw initially. There are still certain things, those clouds, and there might be some kind of delays. And I would say that kind of like would be maybe on some kind of inception. I think some of you will be moving. You will be moving your residence. And that might be kind of even difficult for you. Maybe it's not something necessarily that you want. I think most of you are going to get wiser. And you'll be building your reputation. And you will be really, really dedicated of almost like to the point of obsession. To remove anybody who is not working on the project Sagittarius. Not necessarily who is just not useful to me, but you'll be cutting off the people this year. Anybody who is not really kind of contributing to your growth. And good for you. That's the way it should be. I'm seeing like the grave here. I'm seeing the sickle here, right? And the snake and the mice are being cut off and kind of being eliminated. So let's go further, because many of you are wondering, okay, so what about this flirting and the soulmate that you told me? You'll meet or you will deal with another karmic situation over here. This is talking about something that is meant to be, and it could be something that is connected to your work, or even more so both work or entrepreneurial thing. Even though something from work could be a little bit foggier than something that is on the entrepreneurial level. If you'll be dating somebody through your business, through meeting somebody in your travels, it's more or less going to be a playful relationship. The ring is over here, but it's also next to the sickle, so you're not going to be committing. But there are still things that will be sprouting out from your past. You'll still be clearing your demons. That was that card, the Triumph, that you had over there, which does talk about the demons, right? And I think this is almost like dedication. So these two significators, the gentleman and the lady over here, and let me zoom it in so you can see this better. I hope you see it here. And of course, you're hearing maybe in the background recycling over here or Skype. So please ignore that. That's how my life looks like. So here we are talking about, I think this is house of a tree. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's the house of a tree. And she's in the house of the clouds. So see, gentlemen, Sagittarius gentlemen will try to get wiser, and maybe some of you may have the baby, and this manage to kind of finally make you settle down. Sorry, I have to close the window. Recycling day, it sounds like it's recycling right here on the spot. And like, oh my God, people, it's bad enough that I'm giving you stuff that I pay for so you can make money. So now you have to be noisy. And I hate noise. I hate noise. So, okay, enough about bitching. So I want to finish this in peace for you. So that's why I kind of close this window. So what is really, really important for you ladies, that you need to completely clear some kind of fog, because this is for you falling in the house of the ring, which is falling in the fate. It's going to be more fated for the ladies than for you gentlemen. Meaning, if you have been still holding on to something, it's going to become vapor. It has to become a vapor. You will kind of have a clear direction who you want to play with, who you want to commit with, who you don't want to commit with, because this ring is like well favored with the sun. You see, but at the same time, it's going to hit the mountains because there's still some kind of issues. And I have a feeling that maybe you're going to start with a partner, which we saw it over there, but maybe you're going to relocate. And hence, you will somewhere know that, and hence you will not want to kind of like put your anchor down. An anchor is falling in the house of the flowers or the bouquet over here. So it's going to be kind of like one of those dualities years. You'll be really not guarded. You'll be actually very playful. You'll be going through the motions. And ladies are going to have a good financial success in negotiations, but it's going to be the mountain. And so will the gentleman. He will have to kind of face kind of the ending of something. And the ending is going to go into something new and fresh, even though for you guys it could be with the same person, just on completely different terms in a different location. So the heart is in the house of the letter. So there'll be lots of communication, and maybe that's what I said. There's going to be some kind of publishing, writing. Maybe you're going to write a book of poems, or maybe just a love story that's going to be about some kind of loyalties in life and betrayals. And as far as the sex, which I have seen previously, that is coming in a clover, going to be really, honestly, this is going to be, if anything, a sex year for you. Almost like you're going to have your now Casanova diaries. It's not going to be shortage of partners. The only thing that is going to be for you, you're not going to be very committal. You will be committal to yourself and to something that you want. You'll be dating a lot, I think. But you will be getting rid of people who are not necessarily on your path and on the path that can kind of like benefit you. Not in a rude way. It's sort of like going to be very like much like a butterfly the entire year. So let me check for to seal your reading a few other things here. Let's see what we get in this deck. Well, we already have one. So, and let's see in this deck another one. Keep in mind that grave in this particular Lenormand under the roses deck means transformation. The other deck means it's over. So something is transforming. I see some relationship that maybe doesn't have lots of glue right now. Maybe because there is a third person involved in it, and just more than one people, and some kind of loyalties to something else, to some kind of reputation. Somebody's getting wiser in this entire situation. Maybe some kind of trip is needed. Maybe that trip is going to push you forward to the next stage, and the next stage is going to be fun. It's going to be maybe the same person on different terms, maybe a different person. Something will be happening this winter and the next winter, and this moving can be happening this winter or the next winter, but it will be happening. But with that move, it's going to kind of have duality. It's going to bring the financial freedom and the next stage. However, there'll be also some kind of issues which is represented with this mountain. So you have into the unknown, and we have seen that in the other deck here, and here you have soulmates. Wow. Soulmates. You see, I think that's the lesson you're learning, because you can be a soulmate and you don't have to kind of have this trajectory. Oh, you know what? Now I have to marry. Now I have to have 2 dogs, 3 cats, etc. So like kind of like you're redefining how you're approaching all of that. So what do I do? Let's go with the into unknown first to read it for you. And this is what it says. Trust, and all will be revealed. Did you notice this is yet another 7? This is going to be your lucky number, guys, this year. If you're missing a number, think of the number 7 or 16. These 2 cards will be important to you. It says, life is an adventure. Hey, I'm talking to Saggies. And often, new opportunities will arise that you won't know how to deal with. This is one of those times. You're required to trust that this new phase will reveal wonders and miracles as you step into unknown territory. Imagine that you are not only a pathfinder, but the path maker. Whatever your inquiry, trust that you'll be safe. Stay aware as you discover new and marvelous territories and valuable treasures. So it's going to be adventure. And this, I swear to you, is one of the best cards in this deck. But there will be numerous messages here, and it's going to be protection messages and romantic messages, so let me read it to you all. The Oracle message. You're meant to evolve and transform with the companionship of others. Certain people enter into your life in order to take you to the next level of healing, consciousness, and authenticity. It is always a reciprocal experience, although the results for each of you will vary. You know these people by the strong pull drawing you toward them, and sometimes by strong aversion to them initially will also irritate you too. Soulmates can be friends for life or remain in your life for only a short time. No matter what, you will be changed in ways you can't possibly fathom now. Pay attention to these people today. They are your greatest gifts. Relationship message. Consider love in the deepest sense. Love so powerful that you will never be the same, regardless of how long your relationship lasts. Consider friendships and romantic bonds so compelling that they overwhelm you with gratitude, or break you open so you will finally claim who you were meant to be. Even a companion animal reminds you that it is you who is being rescued and healed. Pay attention, for you are in the presence of a soulmate, come to guide you home to the real you. And boy, that real you is coming across everywhere. I don't know if you're seeing it. There is like this real you emerging over here. Prosperity message. Strategic alliances are most important right now as you begin to attract the perfect people to support your dreams. This is a journey you will share with others. Mentors, business partners, helpers, employees, creative partners, friends, and strangers open doors for you and step through the portal to join you in a harmonic dance of collaboration, commitment, and co-creation. This is what you've been waiting for. And lastly, protection message. An important relationship brings you to your knees. Oh boy, that's the card that we saw. This is the kind of soulmate who comes with a powerful gift. Your patterns and all your old stories that don't serve your well-being enter into this dynamic so you can heal them. This person is called to a sacred task to help you learn, even if it seems uncomfortable, sticky, or even inconceivable. The question is not, why did he or she do this to me? But rather, what is the gift in this? Look into this mirror. You will only be changed for the better. So my dear Saggies, this is your 2018. I really appreciate your patronage, and I really hope to see you on the channel. And until my next reading, I love you. Bye.